everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Close Friends List podcast. It's Maddie here. I'm excited for today's episode. I have my best friend Kia on. We have a conversation. We go just all over the place. We have been friends since middle school. We talked about our trip to Vegas together. Wait till you guys hear what happened to me. We talked about going out. We talk about being single and how much we love it. Kia also was really brave in opening up about the recent loss of her dad. So I hope that part too will be helpful to some people. Even if you're just a friend of someone who's going through grief, I hope that it's helpful to you to listen in on her story. So without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Kia. All right, everybody, I have my very first close friend ever. She's not the first guest, but she is my first close friend, Kia Davis-Hopkins.
Hello. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited that you're here. You're like really a person that pushed me to do this podcast, like literally just shoved me right off the edge. Always shoving me off the edge. So thank you for coming on. Let's start off by, how about you tell the listeners about yourself?
Of course. Also, first of all, I'd like to say that I personally would like to take credit for you starting this podcast.
No, you can.
I remember when we were on a walk and I said, Maddie, you're going to become a stand-up comedian one day.
Oh.
And you were like, no.
And this is my way to do it without standing.
Exactly. If you win an award, you must thank me.
Oh, of course, because you are like the OG close friend.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were seeing my close friends list story before that it was even a thing.
I know. I'm a loyal follower.
Yes,
Close friends.
a loyal follower. Not a friend, just a follower.
Just a follower. I swipe up on all your stories.
And she always calls me right after and is like, tell me more.
I do. I've known Maddie since, how long have we known each other?
We've known each other since like 6th grade, but honestly, I feel like we didn't become friends until high school.
No, I don't think
like freshman year.
Yeah.
But I knew of you.
I think I barely remember you.
Yeah, no, same. Kia was honestly a cool kid, and I was not. I really genuinely was not. And I haven't been up until like last year.
Oh, that's not true. But I will say I have a horrible memory, so I just didn't remember you.
Yeah, that's true.
But also
I wasn't memorable. We'll just say that.
I remember you used to wear long denim skirts.
Oh my God. Do you have to mention that?
Oh, yeah. For sure. That's the most memorable part of you.
Oh my God, that's terrible. That's like deeply upsetting to me. The only piece of clothing I remember from middle school is these bright orange sweatpants that I got from American Eagle.
What?
And they said American Eagle on the side.
I know what you're talking about, but I never remember you wearing them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all I remember wearing.
Maybe it's for the best then. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Let's talk about our weird ass middle school.
Okay.
What a place.
Yeah.
It's like a homeschool hybrid type school, and it was a weird time.
Yeah, I like to pretend like I didn't go there.
Yeah, totally. Well, then let's cut this out. Let's cut this out of the reminder to me. It was such a weird place. I remember thinking Kia's popular, and she also knows every celebrity. Tell us about like the craziest celebrities that you've met.
Okay, I would say that know is a strong word. I don't know these people.
Met.
I feel like I was that person in like 7th grade that was obsessed with so many celebrities. Like I was the girl that was so obsessed with Justin Bieber. I could tell you his birthday. I could tell you his dog's name, his grandparents' name, everything. So
I remember that movie. One of the girls was like, he was born on whatever it is, March 1st on a Tuesday, and it was raining.
Literally, like that was me basically.
Oh my God.
I could have told you those facts.
Yeah.
And I feel like my mom just like wanted to humor me, so she took me to all these concerts or whatever, and I got to meet these cool people because I was so obsessed with them. I was so obsessed with like, I don't know, just celebrities and music and all of that. So I don't know, like meeting Justin Bieber, I think I cried when that happened.
Oh yeah,
I
remember.
Cried.
Yeah, I think you posted a picture on Facebook, and I was like, OMG, like hot couple alert, like trying to be cool.
I was that person. I got a 3D printing of it to put in my room, and it's still there. In fact,
wow.
I'm pretty sure if we went to my parents' house,
honestly,
that would still be there.
I'm going to post that photo on the close friends list.
Oh God, you should.
And Rihanna, you met Rihanna.
I did. Riri, bad girl Riri.
Yeah, that was such a big deal in my mind. But
it was like a big deal to me, but at the time, I feel like I didn't even process like all that Rihanna stands for. Like she's such a sexy icon. At the time, I was just like, oh, her red hair
still is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we knew each other from middle school, but not really, because Kia was too cool for me. And we reconnected in high school because I saw that you were going to be a counselor at the church kids camp, and I was too. So I swiped up and was like, hey, like, what the heck? And that's how we reconnected. And then we did youth group together. We actually led in youth group together, which is so crazy because Kia and I, like, she's now my go-to, like, let's go party type of gal. Like, we get drunk every Friday night together. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, we have the best time together. We are, like, so far removed from the Christian community. And yet it feels like we lived, like, such a different life back then when we first started hanging out.
I would say that I was the worst Christian youth leader. I would be a good youth leader. Christian, no.
There were like some things where I was like, wow, Kia, like you disagree on this, and like being like shocked by that. But I think like you were one of the people that helped me realize, hey, like open your eyes to some of the things that are wrong in this community, or like open your eyes to like some of the things that are flawed within Christianity. And that's like a good thing that you helped me like question stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have very different backgrounds. Like, my family is, like, so Christian, and your family is so the opposite.
So the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a nice way to put it, or maybe not so nice way to put it, is I feel like I kind of corrupted you.
Yes, you always say that, but in a good way.
In a positive way.
Yes, like, I'm better off because of it.
Yeah.
Like, you were a good influence on me, whereas others view it as a bad influence.
I was like the pepper to your salt.
Yes.
Adding some flavor.
You just graduated college.
Yeah, so I graduated college in June. Super exciting. Glad to never have to go to school again.
Yeah, but it was also like a weird graduation, a Zoom one.
Weird graduation, Zoom graduation. I majored in apparel merchandising, and I work for Puma Corporate now. I work in sales. Working there for about a year now. So I started it last summer as an intern and then got hired on during probably the worst year of my life, for sure. A mixture of my dad getting sick, quarantine, all the above. So it was definitely probably 2019, beginning of 2020. I would say I was cursed.
You're not cursed.
Slightly cursed.
It's just a weird year for everybody, but especially for you.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it.
Bad year, but only up from here, you know? And
totally.
So I'm excited. Graduated 22. Living in the city. I feel like Maddie and I live in two different worlds. I went to her house the other day.
Yeah, I live on the east side, so it's like the suburbs, and Kia lives like right in the city by all of our favorite bars.
I know. We can't take advantage of it though.
This is like a shitty year. Live in a dream apartment.
I know. Well, in I guess September last year, I was getting ready to go to school. In fact, with my current roommate now, we were going to go to Leavenworth for the weekend. And my mom called me and she was like, will you come home this weekend? And my mom has never, ever, like, you know my mom, never once called me, told me to come home. My mom doesn't, like, care what I do. In the nicest way possible, though. She doesn't care. And so I, like, knew something was wrong. And she called me. My mom does not sugarcoat things. So she basically told me on the phone, she was like, your dad's dying. You need to come home. And so September of 2019, my dad was diagnosed with essentially terminal cancer. And it's interesting because they don't like to say that word. I feel like it's such like a negative word that no one likes to tell you to your face, oh, you're dying. But yeah, so my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer, then passed away in November, end of November of 2019. Yeah, my whole life kind of changed then, you know. I was supposed to go to school that fall, and I ended up taking a leave of absence because I felt like that was the best thing to do, because then I could be at home with my family more. And at the time I had 2 internships that were pretty serious, so I did both those during the week, and then I would go home every weekend and be with my family and try to be there for my dad. And then after he passed away, it was kind of this bittersweet moment of, oh, he's no longer in pain. But then it was like, oh my God, I have to get back to my life. You know, I was like, shit, I got to go back to school, you know?
Yeah.
My dad passed away November, and I started school in January. So then I went back for 2 quarters and worked really hard and worked while I still had my job. And and then, you know, I graduated and I made it, and here I am. And
Yeah.
kicking and screaming.
I'm just like really impressed by you. I mean, I've said this before, like you are one of the hardest working people I know. Like the fact that you had basically 2 full-time jobs, like an internship, and then you were in school too, and then all of this has happened, and you've like, I want to say like stay strong, but it's also like you've been like real throughout it too. Like I think it's good for you to like tell people like me or other close friends that you have, you would be like, hey, today's like a really hard day for me, or like I've been in a bad place. And I mean, it's been really sad and like hard to see you go through that. It was like good to see you like express like your real emotions and stuff, and like I guess not shy away from it too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I feel like almost I have to when you go through situations like that. A lot of times people don't know what to say or what to do, and you don't even know what to say or what to do.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much that is going on and going through your mind when you lose someone, especially a parent. And something that's been really interesting for me is that oftentimes people give you kind of a timeline. People are like, okay, this person died. I'll give you 2 weeks. Give you 2 weeks vacation time. Go be sad. And then those 2 weeks are over. Let's go back to our normal lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that 2 weeks isn't enough time to mourn a lifetime of loss, and although it's my, only 22 years of life, like that's, my father, and I spent my whole life with him. And so it's not 2 weeks for me to get better. And it's not 2 weeks from now I'm going to say, okay, let me go back to my job. Let me go back to school and be all there. I really did struggle. I can't tell you what I learned, in the past 6 months. I emotionally, I wasn't there at all in most things that I did. I was so disconnected from almost my body. I felt like I was just kind of floating and so far from reality. And I just like went on and did my everyday things because that's what I was so used to doing. And I felt like that's what kind of kept me sane, was being there. But at the same time, I just wasn't there. And I feel like I had to be honest with people around me, because it's not something that like I said, 2 weeks, 2 months, even 2 years can solve, because I'm a different person now completely. And that's been hard for me too, because I'm not the same. I don't feel the same things. I don't feel the same joy. And that sounds negative, but it's also, it's just different. My whole life is different. And so I think I've had to be honest about that to my close friends, because, I'm a whole different person. Like one day I woke up and my life shattered and changed. And so I think if I wasn't honest about that, people would be like, what's going on? Who are you? And so I think that I just have to try really hard to be real about the things that I've gone through.
Maybe if someone is listening to this right now going through a similar thing, can you talk about like what advice you'd give to them, or just like things that you did to like help you make it through, at least for this time? Of course, you're not at conclusions yet, but maybe if there's anything that would help someone else on the other side of listening to this.
Well, I definitely started going to therapy like early on in the journey. My mom was a therapist, so I kind of grew up in the environment of go to therapy. Therapy's great. Therapy's healthy and normal. And so basically right after my dad died, I told my mom I need to go to therapy. And okay, I feel like I'm very in tune with my emotions, but I don't like to express them and talk about them.
You don't like to harbor on them.
I don't like to share them,
Yeah.
Like I feel like before this experience, I didn't cry in front of my friends very much, And so I knew that right after my dad died, in fact, days after my dad died, the day after my dad died, correction, I went back to trying to live my normal life, I went back to partying and drinking and doing whatever I wanted and being with my friends and not caring. And I remember there was this one night where I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I not sitting here and thinking about this and being sad? I mean, I was sad, but I was like, why am I not ruined, as a person? I felt like I had to be ruined, and I felt wrong almost for not feeling that way. And I realized it was because I think that I was still in so much shock that this had happened in the first place, because it did happen really fast. In 3 months, my dad was gone. And I think that I just couldn't process all the things in my life that had happened. And I think that in that moment, it all kind of rushed over me. And my dad dying was almost just like the cherry on top of the cake. And I felt like I felt so many things at once, and I wanted to hide it and not admit it. And so one day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to therapy, and I'm going to find someone that's going to help me talk about it, and I'm going to feel it. And that's that. And I think that my advice to people would just, it's hard because I also don't feel like I really know what I'm doing. I've had so many people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, you're handling this so well. I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, am I though? Yeah. I'm like, really? You think that? Because I feel like I'm not, I feel like I'm just trying to process it all still. Like it was almost, it's been almost a year now since I found out that he was sick, and I feel like that was literally yesterday.
Yeah, it went by so quick.
So quick.
Like I was through like the process with you, like talking with you and like being updated, and I can't believe how fast it all happened. I personally have never been through something like that. I don't know what to say or what to do, and I know that I probably shouldn't. Like it's probably best for me to just shut up and be like, what do you need? I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I remember I'd text you and I'd be like, will you take me to Starbucks?
I was like, yes, of course, literally anything, because I don't know how to talk you through this. I don't know how to like help you out emotionally or whatever, but I know how to drive you to Starbucks. Like that's it.
No, and I think and that was good, and that was meaningful. And I think if anything, when people go through stuff like this, it helps you realize who are your real friends and who's really there for you, and who constantly tries to check up on you in whatever way they can, and I think for every person that looks really different. Like I had friends who so clearly, some of my best friends, had no idea what to say, like they wouldn't even talk about it. Not you. Well, I mean, what do you say? I don't know what to say, and I've been through stuff like that, I'm like, if it sucks, and I think that there's not much we can do except for to be there, for people. I remember when you dropped me off that day at the hospital, I remember my mom like started crying, and she was like, thank you for being here for Kia, even, just driving her to get coffee. And I remember you like got us lunch and stuff. Like I feel like those actions are the things that are underrated and that people don't think about as so important, and such a sign of friendship and genuine and care,
Yeah, so I would say even if you're like a friend on that end, like just not like ignoring it or being like, this is so uncomfortable, I don't want to see them anymore. I think a lot of people like do that in tough situations. Like people can get uncomfortable when someone else goes through something hard that they can't relate on. And I think it's good just to like since this is called like the Close Friends List podcast, like talking about friendship in it, it's good just to like still be there and like be okay with not having answers or not being able to relate. And this other quote that I thought of like while you were talking about, I don't even know what I'm doing, and talking about your experience with like going through grief and stuff, I think that it's okay for it to look different for every single person, how they deal with grief and like the process that they go through. Like I know that people always say there's like 5 steps to grief or whatever, but I don't think that's like super accurate. There's this book that I'm reading that I actually told Cam about recently called Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and Haley actually mentioned it in a podcast episode previously. And one of the quotes was, and I wrote it down, it says, "This life is mine alone, so I have to stop asking people for directions to places they've never been." And I just can relate that to you going through that and going through your own journey of grief. And I think that that's okay, because everyone's different and everyone's on a different journey within different things, just like grief.
No, I agree totally. I think that was something that was hard for me to recognize in the beginning, because I think that we all have this stereotypical idea of what grief and loss should look like. And even in my own family, me, my brother, and my mom, we all grieve so different. And I felt like almost at first I was grieving in the wrong way, which I hate saying, but I felt like, oh, I'm not crying. I'm not stuck at home. I'm not, doing this and this. And my mom and my brother were, and I was literally minutes after my dad died, I said, I have to go home. I'm going home. And I almost felt guilty. Like I as I was leaving the hospital, I was like, oh my gosh, like, should I be there? And I was like, you know what? Like, no, like this is how I choose to grieve. This is how I am. And it's okay that you grieve differently from the rest of your family. And, you know, like there's things, his birthday's coming up in I think 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want to throw a party. Like, I want to throw a little like birthday party. And, you know, I know that my mom probably doesn't even want to talk about it. She'll probably send me a text about it and barely mention it. And that's okay. You know, that's just the way that we choose to grieve. And I think that something that people don't talk about is that grief looks different to every single person because we're all so unique in how we handle the things that we go through. And then it's okay to go through grief differently from your family, from your friends, from whatever. And that doesn't mean that you're doing it right or wrong. It just means that you're doing it how you can handle it. And that I almost think that there's this unspoken thing about death, and specifically death when someone that you love is going through something painful, a sickness, a disease, whatever, where there's this moment where you're like, I want you to die. And I'm like, that's so weird to say, but you know, I had those moments where I'd look at my dad and he would be so sick and literally screaming in pain, and I would say, like, I want you to die. Like, I hope that you die because you should not be living anymore. And there's almost this like relief that you feel,
like a sense of peace that they're not in pain anymore.
Yeah, a sense of peace and relief that they're not there and they're not in pain and they're not like suffering anymore.
I think that was like really good, and I hope that helps someone who's listening, maybe even in like the future. Okay, let's talk about relationships and things like that. Something that you have honestly been throughout my whole journey of every relationship I've been in, every schmuck that I've been with. And Kia gives me the best relationship advice. And one of the best things that you always tell me is that, you know, things aren't supposed to be this hard. Like, that's always something that you say. You go, it's not supposed to be this difficult this early. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, break up with him. Like, you've encouraged every breakup I've been through, which is a good thing. But you always like talk about, at least with me, how like there's like this stereotype within society and within like the church where it's like your goal in life should be to get married and have kids, and that especially like as a woman, and that's what you should strive towards. That's what you should always be looking out for. You know, there's girls that we know who are like, I want to be married by 21 and have kids by 23. Like, Kia has opened my eyes to like the fact that should not be my one and done only goal in life. And I think that you're really good at being like, I want to be successful on my own and I want to be happy on my own and be independent. And that wasn't always the truth because you had a long-term boyfriend. But do you want to like talk about not wanting that to be your goal and maybe like your relationship a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Let's dive on into high school.
High school. When we thought we were going to get married at 19.
I know. When I thought I was literally going to get married, I was like, you know what? I think we're going to have to push our wedding date until I turn 21 because I want to be able to legally drink at my wedding.
My God. Now I can't even imagine that for like years.
No, but I definitely think there was for sure a time where I was in a serious long-term relationship and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get married right after college maybe, and it's going to be great. I'm going to start a family. I'm going to be a housewife. Love it. And then, you know, like, that didn't happen, clearly.
When you guys broke up,
we broke up.
You flipped the switch.
We quite literally abruptly flipped the switch. And I think that after that moment, you know, like, I really did. I loved him deeply. I feel like he loved me. It was what it was. And
but you guys are two different people now.
Two different people.
So
now.
different.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't make it through that time because in my mind, 18 to about our age, like 22, are so just such times where things change every year and your goals change and your mindset and your perspective. Like that's like the years where you really like get molded as a person, if that makes sense. And I think that it's really important to be single in that time, honestly, because I can't imagine being like in a serious relationship throughout those years when like anything could change. You know, like I look at myself even a year ago and think about, holy shit, I was so different. Like the guy that I was with a year ago could never be with him right now. Yeah. We'd be on two different levels.
Yeah, I agree. well, I knew this kid since I was 9 years old. And so from 9 to, how old was I? 19. I dated this one person. And I mean, not officially that whole time, but...
Can you imagine your first boyfriend at 9?
No. For 4 years of that time, I was in a very serious relationship with someone, and I was really so codependent on him, and I felt like he was my world and my everything, And then for that to end, my late freshman year of college, I was like, oh shit, Who am I? What am I doing? I transferred schools for him. I was just lost, and I think that looking back at that now, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And to be honest, I have friends that have been in successful relationships throughout all of high school and not, but I think in my specific instance, like, that wasn't it for me, and I wanted it to be it so badly, but it wasn't. And I really had to shape myself as a person and learn about myself, what felt like almost all over again, because I learned about myself through these years of high school, through developing, and I was myself with him, and then to go and be myself by myself, I was a whole other person. I was like, holy shit, who am I? What am I doing? What do I want? I thought about things that I never thought about. I thought about having a career and what it meant to be smart and feel smart.
You've been always smart. But...
No, but I feel like...
What it meant to put an effort into that.
Effort into it, and...
Effort into yourself.
Mm-hmm. And working really hard and dedicating my time to other things that weren't a relationship almost. Because I really did dedicate every single day of my life for so long to one person. I was too young to really do that and understand what it meant. And I sacrificed too much of myself for who he wanted me to be. And so for the first time in my life, I was learning how to be me for who I wanted me to be. And so I went through these years of just trying to almost rebuild myself and understand who I was and get to know myself on this really like intimate and close personal level. And so I just kind of started from square one. I was like, okay, you know what? One day, like, let's just go on this journey together, me, myself, and I. And I started, taking school more seriously, working hard, trying to get jobs, trying to get internships, doing whatever. And I think that now in life, I am at a point where I am so far from where I ever imagined myself to be. I'm 22. I thought I would be married with like a child by now, So crazy. And I think that there's a lot of power in that. And I think that I've just really learned how to be independent like I never have before. And I've learned how to fend for myself. And I've seen the power in working for myself and doing things on my own and just living a life on my own. And throughout this whole journey, it's not like I've been truly single and a lone loser.
No, you're not. You're far from a loser.
But I mean, like, I don't think I haven't been in a serious relationship like that since then. And I think because of that, I don't see myself being in another relationship like that for a long time. And that's weird, I think. Not weird. It's people perceive it as different. Yes. Because I think people would think that my goal should be, I need to meet a man, I need to do this, I need to settle down. And I feel like, oh my gosh, my life is just starting. I feel like my career is literally just starting.
Yeah.
My whole life is just so different. And not to mention just graduating college, there's the coronavirus. There's my dad. There's everything else that's happened that I'm like, I don't have the headspace to be in a serious relationship. And I think that's different because a lot of people expect that from you at this age, to want to start to settle down and think about all this stuff. And I almost had this like epiphany moment. I remember I called you and I was like, Maddie, I am not supposed to be in a relationship. I was like, Maddie, I am supposed to like work really hard and do this and do that with my career, and I want to move here and I want to do that, and I don't want to settle down. And I feel like it's so weird for girls to be like, I don't want to settle down. I I want to work really hard and do this and do that. And not that there's anything wrong with settling down. I'm all for it. Like my friends that are going to get married next year, I'm like, I want to be in your wedding, please, you know? But just for me personally, I have a lot of me to discover still.
Yes.
And so I think that I can recognize at this point in my life, I can't really give myself to anyone on a close and personal, serious level until I figure out a lot of the other shit that's going on in my life. And so that's kind of why I feel like I've ended up in this weird place of, you know, like I want to date people and hang out with people, but also it can't be serious. I can't take things seriously. I'm so far from that, from just where I am as a person, you know?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's been so inspiring for me to like hear you talk about yourself in that way and be like, being single is fucking awesome. Like, this is the best. Like, I remember one time you were like, I love not having to tell someone where I'm at all times. And I remember being like, wow, like, you have really, like, Kia's an influence on me, but in a good way. And this is one good way, is that, like, you have shown me, like, what it means to embrace being single and what it means to be okay without having a man. It's like, just because you don't have a man doesn't mean that you're alone. Like, I remember that was one of the biggest things that you told me when I went through my first breakup, which in my mind broke my heart, like shattered my world. And yet, no, I was just 19. Like, you know, and I remember like the first thing you told me was like, just because you're technically alone, like as far as relationships goes, doesn't mean that you're like alone in life. Like, and that doesn't mean that your life isn't as meaningful just because you don't have another person be intimate with or whatever. It's an exciting time. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you have like no responsibilities as far as people to take care of other than yourself. And that's an exciting thing. And we need to hold on to this for as long as we fucking can.
Yeah. You know, I am truly just going to have these more casual relationships that I've been having, you know, for I don't know how much longer. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a number on it, but I feel like I'm happy just having, you know, people that I hang out with, and that's kind of it. And I think it's funny. I'm like, oh, I've turned into a fuckboy, haven't I?
No, I feel like I can be too. Just a couple of fuck girls.
I know. I'm like, am I literally a fuck girl?
It's fine. There's a doubled standard to all of this. It's okay. I mean, guys can be fuckboys and be like the kings of the world. Like, why can't we as women?
Know. 2 fuck girls, 1 mic.
Yeah. Except for we have 2 mics in this moment, thank God. Kia found this song last week that's called My Future by Billie Eilish. It's not hard to find because it's like #1 everywhere. But we just felt like that song like really defines who you are.
Oh, yeah. Because the whole song talks about I can't be with you right now because I'm focused on myself and my future.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so where I'm at. Like, I was sitting in my bed listening to the song and I was like, did she write this song for me?
No,
like,
literally, I thought the same thing when I read the lyrics.
Yeah. I was like, this song was written for me because it's such a unique point of view because people don't talk about stuff like that. People don't talk about everything. Like, even I was even having a conversation with my therapist this week about relationships, and she was telling me like, oh yeah, I know it's really hard to like meet the right person. And I was like, here's the thing, Virginia, I have met the right Virginia. I was like, I have met the right person. I've met so many great people. The problem is me. I feel like I'm just at a place where it's like, you know what? I need to discover so much about myself that like I can't give myself to someone else.
I'm just gonna do like a quick deep dive into these lyrics, which I did the other day. I like said to Kia, I was like, girl, I just did a deep dive into this song and it's so good. It basically says like, I'm in love with my future. I don't want to be with anyone else. I just want to get to know myself. And then I love the part where it's like, I know I'm lonely now. I know I'm supposedly unhappy without someone, but aren't I someone? Oh, such a good lyric.
So good.
I don't know if she wrote that herself, but if she did, like, props to Billie. Like, that's such a good line. Like, aren't I someone? Because that's your mentality. You're like, people tell me I'm supposed to be with someone, but I am that someone. And that's great. Like, that's so different than what society tells us, but that's not wrong. Just like the quote I said earlier, like, I'm not going to ask for directions for places that people haven't been, because this is my own journey. This is my own Apple Maps.
I know. This is my own Apple Maps.
Yeah.
I know, like, my roommate and I right now joke, we're like, should we adopt children together?
You guys totally should. Honestly.
We're like, if all else fails in life, like, should this be our forever home?
Our forever couch. When they first bought their couch, like, who was it? You or Annika that was like, this is our forever couch. Like, is this our forever couch?
Is this going to be our forever couch?
No,
like,
it's definitely not. It's not. Let me tell you.
Cloud couch.
I slept on that couch. It's not your forever couch.
You know what? We will upgrade one day.
Yes. One day. Once you have a lot of kids to like fit on that couch.
Yeah, once we adopt all of our children.
Yes.
It'll be great.
I honestly love that idea. Like, why the fuck not? Like, can you imagine like having kids with your best friend? Yeah. Like, that's ideal. your face, you're like, maybe not. Kia the other day was like, when I see a baby, it honestly upsets me.
It does. I mean, I love a cute baby, but some people are just like, I have baby fever. I love babies. They're so cute. And I'm just like, not there.
And that's
they're
great.
Cute, but they make me cringe. I can't. The amount of work, time, and effort that goes into them is just really too much for me to handle.
Too much. That's why I don't say I have baby fever. I say I have ant fever. I want to be an ant.
I would love to be an ant. My brother, 32, gotta get on it.
Yeah, he's got to. Or my sister can, and we can both just be like the ants to Sarah's babies.
I will be the fun ant.
Yes, we can be the fun ants.
A baby Leggett.
Yes, baby Leggett. That needs to be coming soon. Okay, let's talk about Vegas. We went to Vegas last year, and it honestly changed my life. Like, do not talk to me like I'm the same person I was before we saw Zed in Vegas. That was the motto from the whole trip. No, Vegas was like the first place that I ever got blacked out drunk.
Vegas was the first place that you ever got blacked out drunk, and I warned you of that happening.
What happened was I had a Caesar salad and a Caesar salad only.
No. What happened was...
Okay, keep going.
I told Maddie, I said, Maddie, I know you haven't drank a lot before this. I'm going to give you 3 shots, and that's it. And you cannot take more than 3 shots. I'm watching you. I'm monitoring the liquor. It's going around this hotel room right now. No more than 3 shots. What happens? I go to the bathroom. I come back. I peep around the corner. What is Maddie doing? Chugging the vodka bottle. That is what happened. That is what happened. I said, Maddie.
It's because I was overwhelmed.
3 shots.
I was decorating your room and you guys were ready to go. And I was like, wait, shit, I'm so sober in this moment. Like, I can't leave the hotel sober. And so I was just like panicked and just panic drank. Just like people panic buy toilet paper in these Corona times, I panic drank.
Yeah. Molly looks at me. I can't tell you when this happened, but she looked at me somewhere between us leaving the hotel room and leaving the physical hotel. Mm-hmm. And
I like almost fell in the street.
Yeah, she goes, Maddie has to go. She goes, Maddie can't come with us. She's too fucked up. And I like turn back and you're like on the fucking ground.
Yes.
And the security guard is walking over to us being like, is your friend okay? And we're like, no.
And I was not.
And I just remember Molly in the calmest way being like, Maddie, do you want to go back to the hotel room? And you were like, yes.
I think I said yes because I knew, like, it somewhere deep in my soul, I was like, I am blacked out right now, and this is not right. The last thing I remember was getting in the elevator. That's how bad the night was.
Getting in the elevator going down or going up?
Down.
Down. Okay.
Down away from our hotel. That was such a crazy night, but what a great time Vegas was. After that, I was like crying because I felt so bad. I was like, I just ruined Kia's birthday trip. Like, she's 21 and I literally ruined it. But honestly, I didn't, and thank God. We had such a good time. Like, you guys were at the pool and stuff while I was in bed, like, unwell. I remember there was a menu at the hotel we were at, and on the menu was IV treatments. Do you remember this? Yeah. It was like IV treatments for $4,000. And I kept looking at it and I was like, should I?
Maddie looks at me. I remember somewhere in the middle of probably like 5 a.m. Vegas. I come home and she's like, am I going to die? Am I dying? Am I going to die? And I'm like, Maddie, you're not going to die. You're drunk. Yeah. You're not going to die. You're just fucked up.
Yeah.
And I remember you like threw up for probably 4 hours and then you fell asleep and then you didn't wake up for probably 12 hours. Yeah. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to leave her sleeping. And Molly and I went to the pool and just sat there super hungover all day until I think you texted me at like 4 a.m. or 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
And you were like, I'm up.
Yeah, there's a video of me. There's a video of me in the dress from the night before, and there's throw up on the dress, and I'm literally sitting there. I have my hands folded because I was like, I'm up and I'm ready to be professional.
Yeah. And then I think we went out and drank more that night.
That was so fun. I was like, I can't. I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared. The biggest mistake I could have made is to go and be not single. And I remember this was so embarrassing. I met a guy who wasn't single either. And I was like, I was obviously drunk. And I was like, we gotta be buddies. Like, let's stick together. And I like posted a video with him on my close friends story. And I was like, we're both like not single in Vegas. And like my ex at the time like texted me and was like, why did you post that? Like, that was not okay. Like, he was so, oh my gosh, that whole trip, he was just like stressing out because he was like, you're around all these guys in Vegas. I was like, oh, please. Like, if Kia's one thing, Kia doesn't let me be a cheater. Like, every time she's always like, I mean, nothing has ever even come close to happen, but like there would be like a guy that would start to move towards me and Kia would grab me and be like, she has a boyfriend. Like, literally, even though we all didn't like Sam at the time, you were like, oh wait, I shouldn't say his name. Whatever, people know. But anyway, you were like, she has a boyfriend, stay the fuck away from her. Like, literally, always.
I would just like to say that I am a great bodyguard. With Annika, I remember this time.
Yes! Oh my god, share this story. This is so funny and a great tip for what to do when going out with girlfriends.
So I was out with a bunch of my girlfriends. Maddie was there and my roommate Annika was there. Love Annika. She's so beautiful. So this guy comes up to Annika, won't leave her alone, and I think he literally said to her face, I won't leave you alone this whole night until you let me buy you a drink.
Yes.
And so then me, really, really drunk, Bud's in the situation, and I look him dead in the eye and I go, yo, what the fuck? That's my fucking girlfriend. You need to back the fuck off. And like, keep in mind, this is me, 5'5", up in this like 6 foot guy's face, nose to nose, saying, back the fuck off of my fucking girlfriend.
Yeah, you were literally screaming at him. Like, you guys have no idea. Kia was, I was scared. I was scared and I knew that you guys weren't actually together. I was like, damn, I don't want to mess with Kia and her girlfriend.
I literally was like, you need to back off. And he goes, oh my God. He like raises his hands up to his head. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, and then he leaves and comes back 30 minutes later. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he kept apologizing. No respect for us women. And I just was like a bystander and I was scared. And I was like, damn, like I've never seen Kia at this level, but it was fucking awesome.
It was hilarious. I would say that probably has to go down like my top 10 moments in life because he was full on scared, like full on taken aback.
Yes. I mean, we all were. I have never seen you like that since. And I couldn't believe that you were doing that and you kept your composure the whole time. I feel like there would have been a point where I just would have busted laughing. But you just kept it together the whole time. Like you were, Oscar. You deserved an Oscar for that.
I do. Sometimes I'm like, should I be an actress?
You should, honestly, with that under your belt.
With that performance?
When I was in Austin, Texas, a guy was like super drunk and punched me in the face. Did I ever tell you about this? Yeah, he literally punched me in the face. And honestly, it wasn't that hard because like he was drunk, but I just like noticed that he was swinging his arms and then he punched me and I was like, yo, like, what the fuck? I was like, this guy just punched me in the face. And then this security guy from a club like runs up to him. It was like I was watching football, like in the middle of like a street. And like literally he picked this guy up and like literally rammed him right into like all these cops. And then I was like, we just got to get out of here. I don't want to get the cops involved. I'm not pressing charges, especially in Austin, Texas. Like no fucking way. So I just grabbed my friend and we like ran into the next club. And I was like, okay, let me sit because I'm a little shaken up. And we were just like, I can't believe that happened. And
oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that story. That was crazy. Again, I was a loyal fan of your close friends list.
Yes.
I remember this whole thing playing out on your Snapchat story.
Yes, I put it and I was like, hey guys, I just got punched in the face, but like I'm okay. Because you know me, I love the drama. Like, okay, Kia, how about we get into your close friends list for this week?
Where's my phone? First and foremost, my close friends of the week, my number one is going to be Puma Sports Style. I have to give a shout out to my own company. I love Puma Sports Style. I will say, without giving away too much, we have a lot of great stuff coming in 2021.
So cool that you know the inside scoop. You also don't you build the website, or at least the Amazon layout for Puma?
Yeah, everyone visit amazon.com/Puma.
And that's Kia's work right in front of you.
My design. Yeah.
So awesome.
Everyone check that out. My next close friend of the week is going to be Dara Breeze, or Breeze Media. You got to follow her. She is one of my close friends from college, from when I went to WSU before I transferred. I love her. She is a super talented photographer and artist, and she is starting her own media company. She is so great. 10 out of 10. Support local Seattle artists, and especially Seattle Black women artists.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, this is such a funny story. I don't know if I've told you this before, but so I went to a shoot. Like, you did a collab with her, right? With the fashion part. Like, Kia did a whole fashion part of some of her photos, and I'll post some of those with the Close Friends List Instagram photo that I do for the Close Friends List of the week. Anyway, one of the photos has my hand in it, and I totally forgot, and I follow her on Instagram, and I was scrolling through, and I literally saw it, and I was like, like, I didn't register what it was, and I thought, holy shit, someone copied my tattoo, like the olive branch tattoo that I have. And so I was literally showing all my coworkers. I was like, you guys, does this look like my exact tattoo or not? Like, what is this? And I was like showing them, and then I looked at the profile, like who it was, and I was like, wait, that's me. Like, I totally forgot I was there, and I was like a part of it. It was just my hand that was a part of it, but that was some beautiful work that you guys did. And yeah, she's definitely talented, and for sure love to support other women.
My next close friend of the week is going to be also another badass Black woman on Instagram. Her name is Claire Must. She's from Portland, but she also is from... Wait, I gotta restart this.
That's okay.
Okay. Another close friend of mine of the week is going to be Claire Must. She lives in Portland, but she's from Paris. She is a fabulous woman. She is a Black woman. She has beautiful hair, and I just want to be her. I aspire to be her. She is everything I want and more in life. I also feel like she is a fellow feminine girl that knows how to dress like a boy, aka me.
Yes, I love it.
I'm looking at her Instagram right now. She's wearing sneakers and basketball shorts.
Oh.
I feel like that is my go-to
Wow.
outfit. Yeah.
I want to start wearing that.
No, you should follow her. She's from Portland. I love her. She is a growing influencer, and I think that everyone should follow her, especially to get some more Black girl magic on your timeline.
Yes. Love it.
All right, Kia, is there anything else you want to say to our listeners?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Close Friends List podcast. These episodes go live every single Friday on all podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us at the Close Friends List. You can also follow at the Close Friends List on Instagram or email